We've all come across modern tycoons such as Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, but what if I told you that the true puppeteers of America's financial kingdom have been in the process since the 18th century? There are groups of people that have influenced the American economy more significantly and longer than one can imagine. Picture this. It was the 19th century. Marcus Goldman was born in a middle-class family on the 9th of December, 1821. His dad was a small-scale farmer and also a cattle dealer. However, Marcus was not happy to be a farmer. No, he wanted more for himself. Thus, he left his home and went to America during the Revolution of 1848 to achieve the American dream. Marcus initially had a rather humble business as he used a handcart pulled by a horse. He lived in Philadelphia in a room with his friend Joseph Sachs. These two friends could never have imagined back then that they were going to radically shift the American economy. By 1869, Marcus migrated to New York and established Marcus Goldman and Company, which mainly dealt with the purchase of commercial paper. And in the first year, guess what? He raked in $250,000. This amount hasn't been adjusted for inflation and would have been an even crazier amount back in the 19th century. Jump to 1882 and Marcus invites his son-in-law Samuel Sachs to become a member of the firm. It is now M. Goldman and Sachs. These guys were big-time players, transacting millions of dollars on an annual basis. Having a lot of money, they decided to move to Madison Avenue, where they lived in a mansion. But here's the icing on the cake. Henry, the son of Marcus, became his partner in the business in 1885, along with another son-in-law of Marcus, Ludwig Dreyfus. It transformed into Goldman Sachs and Company. In 1896, they got a membership on the New York Stock Exchange. Marcus retired, and the business was continued by Henry Goldman and Samuel Sachs. And Henry, he was a genius. He expanded into industrial financing and secured contracts with Sears and Woolworths. Well, you may imagine that was it. They had made it in life, and this would be the height of what they'd achieve. But no, this was just the beginning of an unbelievable tale. Next, we have the third generation. By 1968, the company was acting as a manager of sales for securities of about $1.8 billion in short-term financing for Penn Central Corporation. But hold on, the problem was that Penn Central went bankrupt in 1970, which caused a scandal. It made the shareholders raise their voices, and legal cases threatened to suck out the company's resources. But the conflicts were resolved by Goldman Sachs, and it continued to perform on the upswing. The firm went public in 1999, which means that the ownership of the firm was opened for other people to invest in. They lured the best bankers, ramped up their private equity operations, and even foresaw the worst in the 2008 mortgage debacle, turning $4 billion in profit while others were swimming in losses. The story of Goldman Sachs is not only a script of success, it is the story of survival, inventions, and last but not least, luck. Pretend that you're watching an action movie, and every time you think that the hero has hit rock bottom, they turn up stronger than ever. That is Goldman Sachs for you. However, there is a but, as they say. It's not all rosy. During the middle of the 20th century, it was not smooth for them, and they met some significant challenges. After signing the deal which gave Amalgamated a foothold in the Penn Central Company, the latter declared its bankruptcy in June 1970. Considering the scale of this bankruptcy, investors were angry. Most of them turned against the firm by taking it to court under the belief that the partners were in the process of selling commercial paper despite being informed of the status of the company. More recently, in 2018, the company was in the middle of a scandal that involved a corrupt Malaysian sovereign wealth fund and a group of its bankers in Asia. This scandal eroded the market value of the company, especially in November 2018, where its market capitalization was reduced by 20%. Well, Where are they now? Goldman Sachs remains one of the biggest financial powerhouses that has a net worth of greater than $165.15 billion and 43,000 plus employees. They've expanded into personal loans and consultancy to technology organizations such as Microsoft and owns facilities such as the Rockefeller Center. But here's the kicker. Goldman Sachs is not merely about the generation of profits. They've contributed to schools, provided scholarship programs, assisted in research programs, especially in the medical field, and even helped cultural organizations and museums. They've made a strong impact not only in the field of finance, but in society as well. Over the century they have been operational, the company has integrated into the very fabric of America. Their influence far exceeds the industry they work in. This is because, as an established organization spanning generations, they've had enough time to branch out. And yes, they were the first to pioneer the use of commercial paper as a funding mechanism for businessmen. By 1968, the company had underwritten hundreds of millions in short-term financing for one of its biggest companies in the States, the Penn Central Corporation. This was a historical milestone because for decades Penn Central had ignored the Jewish company, preferring the American counterparts. They were even able to flex some muscle on the global stage by listing on the New York Stock Exchange in 1896. Then in 1999, the firm floated and everyone wanted to invest. The Jewish firm had to go out and hire the best banker in business and develop its private equity franchise. The 20th century has been characterized by leadership in the distribution of electronic investment research and the emerging new forms of financial instruments. Goldman Sachs did not even feel the pinch of the global financial meltdown that hit in 2008, while its counterpart firms were registering unfathomable losses. They bet it right by predicting turmoil in the mortgage market and a massive proprietary bet of imploding. The result? $4 billion trading profit in the year 2007. The story of Goldman Sachs is quite a success story of a group entity that has had to rise from the ashes several times to emerge as a brilliant winner. Their success motivates like-minded individuals who, in one way or the other, find themselves in their position to try out their luck in the world of business. Of course, they faced their share of problems along the way, but with some luck and smart thinking, the family is still going strong today. Their company has over the years ensured that it donated its quota to society. They've donated large sums of money for building constructions and for the provision of scholarships, positively impacting the lives of thousands of students. This is why Goldman Sachs has been able to look back into time and see a rich legacy of the company staring back at them.